live option trade alerts for January 2025. You can follow our real-time option trade alerts by visiting beststockstrategy.com/memberships. That way you don't have to receive it a month or a month and a half late. Instead, you can get the alerts sent directly to you on WhatsApp. Going through the trades for this month, let's get started. January 2nd, S&P up 25. We sold a 1 DTE call. Then I provided a suggestion for the put side. S&P down 13, VIX up over 3%. January 3rd, solid opening. Here's a sample trade that I make. I'm not making it because we have existing Tesla trades on it, and I'd like confirmation that Tesla's decline is over. So here you can see the suggested trade. Close out the call just in case for a small profit. S&P up 74, volatility down around 10%. Palantir up over 6%, Tesla up over 8%. January 6th, new opening trade on VRT, where we bought the 135 call, sold the 210, then we financed that by selling 6 of the $70 puts, and we also sold 2 of the 180 calls. B plus grade, SPY 112 trade, picked up $265. This acts as a hedge. Only make this trade if you're okay with owning SPY at 475. S&P up 33, volatility mixed. CrowdStrike up 2%, VRT up 6.7%. January 7th, new opening trade on Palantir. We bought the $80 call and sold the 90, and then financed that by selling one of the 62.5 puts, picked up $80. Then I provide the spread leg as a replacement for the 62.5 puts. SPX, new opening trade. 1 DTE, picked up $70 in total. S&P down 66. VIX and VVIX up 11%. January 8th, new opening trade on Tesla. This acts as a small hedge where we bought a put debit spread and we financed it by selling some call options. Then we sold a 1 DTE call. S&P up 9, volatility down slightly. January 9th, the market was closed. January 10th. Here's a suggested trade, not an executed trade. This is on NVIDIA, where the suggested trade would be to buy a 140 by 145 call debit spread and finance it by selling the 124 put option. New opening trade for Apple. You can see it's a $20 wide call debit spread. SPX sold the call option. S&P down 91. CrowdStrike down 2.8%. Blackstone down 5.2%. January 13th, adjustment to Tesla, rolling in the 340 strike to expire prior to earnings. As a spread for the 515 calls, I'd sell the 480 and buy the 530. New opening trade, hedge for NVIDIA. As a spread for the 155 calls, I'd sell the 150 and buy the 160s. Here we bought a put debit spread, the 130 by 126, and then we financed it by selling 4 of the 155s. Week opening, the market has rebounded though. Tesla's price action is strong. We sold a 1 DTE call on SPX. New opening trade in NVIDIA. As a spread for the 127, I'd sell the 130 and buy the 120. S&P up 9, VIX down 1.8%, and VVIX down 3.9%. January 14th, new opening trade in CrowdStrike, a $50 wide call debit spread financed by 2 of the 210s, and we actually picked up a credit. I'm recording this in the middle of February, and that trade is showing us around a $2,500 to $3,000 profit considering CrowdStrike's recent performance. SPX 1 DTE trade picked up $100, S&P up 6, volatility down around 2.5%. January 15th, S&P up 85. Then you can see that I rolled the call side, but I'm not going to take a lot of risk with this trade. It's possible that I'll close it out for a loss. New opening 112. Only make this trade if you're okay with owning SPY of 480. Then I rolled the SPX calls up by $5 and financed it by selling a put option. S&P up 107, VIX down 14%, and VVIX down over 9%. January 16th, our CrowdStrike is showing a $500 plus profit. I closed out the SPX call for a small profit. S&P down almost 13, volatility up around 3%. January 17th, S&P up around 50. Let's wait until later in the day to see what opportunities there are. New opening trade in Meta, B+ grade. As a spread for the 530, I'd sell the 550 and buy the 480. This trade is likely going to show us a $1,500 profit. S&P up 59, VIX down 3.8%. Today was solid. I think we're still slightly below last year's high when Nvidia was above 145 and Tesla was above 450. But hopefully we'll get back soon. You can see we were up over $12,000. January 20th, the market is closed. January 21st, new opening trade on Meta, B+ grade. This trade has about $8,000 of profit if Meta is trading above 665 in July 2025. New opening trade on SoFi, B+ grade. S&P up 52, VIX down 4.7%, and VVIX down 3.3%. January 22nd, VRT, new opening trade, B grade as a spread replacement for the 120 put. I'd sell the 130 and buy the 90. This trade as of middle of February is definitely a mistake as VRT is currently trading at about 108. Nvidia closed for around an $800 profit. The original is here. So we got paid to put on the trade and we got paid to take it off too. S&P up 37, VIX up slightly, and VVIX up 2.3%. January 23rd, solid opening, S&P down slightly, volatility down. S&P up 32, volatility down slightly. January 24th, new opening trade on TEM. This trade is also proving to be extremely profitable as TEM has been on a tear recently. New opening trade, this is speculative. Nancy Pelosi purchased TEM and then we financed it by selling 4 of the $20 puts. Meta, we sold some naked calls. This ended up expiring worthless because even though Meta has been going up almost every day for the past 3 weeks, I still was able to sell it very far out of the money. S&P down 17, volatility mixed. January 27th, closing trade on Nvidia. Close it out for a $212 profit. Closing trade on Nvidia, picked up $212. Then I closed out Tesla, closed for a $2,500 plus profit. There's the original. So we got paid $350 when putting it on and $2,500 when taking it off. I want to reduce my long dated exposure. I can always re-enter the position, no big deal. And we opened up a hedge trade for Tesla where we purchased the 370 by 355 put debit spread, and then we financed it by selling some far out of the money calls and also selling some out of the money put options. Nvidia suggested trade, A- grade. I definitely should have made this trade myself. You can capitalize upon Nvidia's large drop. I wouldn't sell it as a spread, but if I was forced to, then I'd replace the 105s by selling the 110s and buying the 90s. But yeah, this was definitely a great trade. And in fact, you would have picked up a decent amount of money by entering it as well. VIX up 20%. Nvidia and BRT are showing large losses. Everything else is fine. S&P down 89. VIX up over 20%. BRT fell 30% that day. Nvidia down 17%. January 28th. S&P up 55. VIX down 8.3%. BRT up 3.9%. CrowdStrike up 9.4%. Then I provide my thoughts. January 29th. A hedge for Tesla. For some reason, I'm concerned about the downside, and rightfully so. I just don't like the price action for Tesla recently. I bought a $10 wide put debit spread, and I financed it by selling some far out of the money call options. Suggested trade for Nvidia, if you don't already have a large position there. The suggested trade would be to buy the 130 by 140 call debit spread and finance it by selling 6 of the 113s. The ironic thing is that 113 was basically the low point on Nvidia. I don't know why I chose 113. It was probably just random luck. But this trade would have been very, very profitable and potentially showing a $4,000 profit. I think at this moment, Nvidia is trading at around 138, but its recent price action has been very strong. A 1 GTE trade picked up $80. S&P down 28, volatility mixed. January 30th, new opening trade on Microsoft, where we bought 2 of the $20 wide call debit spreads and financed it by selling 4 of the $3.95 puts. Our meta trades are showing huge profits. S&P up 32, volatility down. Then I provide my thoughts. And then the last day of January, new opening trade on Nvidia. This has a $4,500 max profit plus the $186 credit that we received when entering the trade. B+ grade, solid opening. Meta and Palantir are showing us huge gains. 1 DTE picked up $120. S&P down around 31. VIX up 3.7% and VVIX up 3.2%. So that's basically it. January was a great month for us. The only position that I currently have, which is showing us problems, is VRT. I might have to close that out for a loss. I'll watch the price action on that over the next few weeks, but January was great. If you want to enroll in our trade alerts, then visit beststockstrategy.com/memberships.